It's always a good day in the Music City. Happy to have you with us for the next 3 hours. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. We have Bell K behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of your speakers sounds as good as humanly possible, whether you're listening on your radio dial, 99.7 FM. Perhaps you have your iPhone out or your Android out or whatever listening device you might have, and you've downloaded our app, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Maybe you've downloaded a different sort of streaming service. Anywhere where you stream music or information, we're there. Just type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Of course, we're on the television side of things as well. Supertalk TV is up and running. Thank you. Hello for you masochists in the listening audience. Glad to see you. How do you like my shirt? How do you like my locks for Trump? Will you do me a favor, Bell K, by the way?
Yeah.
Will you count the days? We decided on March 1st yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the day that I proclaimed I'm not cutting my hair until we have a new president-elect. Would you mind figuring out, you know how I like to count things, like today's episode is 571. I feel like we should count up. So would you figure out from March 1st to today what the count is? We'll start doing a count.
Total number of days?
Yeah, just a total number of days.
Yeah.
It's day, I want to be able to say it's day 84 of Locks for Trump on Supertalk 99.7 WTN or whatever it is. Yes, I have committed to not cutting my hair. We're going to have sponsorship on this thing before you know it. I predict to you, if you're a men's barbershop, you should be all over this, because once we do have a new president-elect, we'll have a big party at your barbershop or your place of business where I'll get, a fresh shave. I'll get the haircut. We'll do the locks of love for locks for Trump.
76.
We're on day 76.
Yes.
Look at there. So day 76 of Locks for Trump on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You can see that on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. When you go to either YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, would you mind liking us or following us or doing whatever it is the platform does to say that you approve of the activities that you're seeing before you? We would appreciate that. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number. 615-737-9986 is also our Members Nutrition Super Text line. You're invited to participate in the show at any point during the proceedings. Come one, come all. I am an open book. I'm an open format, and I absolutely love engaging with you. Here, there, and everywhere. I mentioned it's Wednesday, May 15th. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It is 2024 as best as I can tell. I did mention that it's episode 571. And while our good friend and executive producer, Bell K, refuses to participate on the television side of things, he does get it launched, and he does entitle it. And I don't know the titles of the episodes until you do. And today's episode, 571, is entitled
Matt Murphy. He would beat you senseless and unconscious, except corporate won't let him.
So yeah, that's true. Have I told you how I managed to skydive in Birmingham, Alabama, twice?
Yeah, I was going to
charity?
say, I thought you had gone twice, yeah.
And corporate said no. Said no. There is a list. And look, our company, I'm not bashing our company. Our company is no different than any other major company, right? They want to minimize risk, and they minimize the things that they allow us to do on the radio. Now, you can call them the no fun police if you want, and that's fine. But there are certain things in the modern era that we once could do that we can no longer do. For example, when I broadcasted out of Birmingham, Alabama, we were very close to the Talladega Motor Speedway, that big 2.66-mile super speedway, NASCAR track. And we would have, in advance of the Talladega races, regular activities and promotions to promote ticket sales for Talladega. And one of the promotions that we did, my then executive producer, this would have been you, Bell, had we been in Nashville. And I faced off in a race because they have driving schools at these tracks. The Dale Jarrett driving experience was what we did. And so we were the drivers, and we solicited listeners to be our pit crews. And they actually did things. They had to help assist in figuring out the time. So what we did, we went through driving school, and you get into actual NASCAR race cars. The only thing that they've done, these are standard race cars. They're older models, 5 or 6 or 7 years old. But these are race cars. They put another seat. I asked my instructor, Woody, who rode along with me, what do they do to the cars to alter them? And he said, we set them up neutral. We put a seat on my side to make sure that I have a place to sit. And then we move the kill switch of the car from the left to the center so that if you go crazy, I can kill the car. And he said, and then that's it. It's a 4-speed and you go. So much fun. 170 miles an hour. And on the back stretch, when you're going into turn 3, it looks like you're about to hit a wall of concrete. It was so much fun. So I don't know if I should tell all this story. I'm halfway through the story and I don't know if I should tell it all. There was an unfortunate incident with David Sears getting out of the car. He was a big fella, like 6'6".
Did he get hurt or something?
He broke his hand.
That's getting hurt.
And waivers may or may not have been signed. It was bad. It was bad. So I feel responsible for eliminating most of the fun things that we used to be able to do.
Well, it's that kind of no-go zone that companies throw out there as part of their practice standards and practices. That's not uncommon in like even the sports world. It's like Shaq's contract. I remember he went skydiving one time, and his contract forbid it. He wasn't allowed to.
Well, right. I mean, I know
he did it anyway because
football players, baseball players, right? They have things in the riders of their contract suggesting that I think it was a number of years ago that a baseball player got hurt on a motorbike, on a motocross motorbike, and he wasn't supposed to be on a motocross motorbike. It's that sort of thing. So anyway, we did that years ago. So in the aftermath of that, there was some local and corporate crackdown on what we could or could not do. And then there was the skydiving event. And I was told that I couldn't do it as a station event. But we worked around it because I said, well, if I do it on my own, if I choose to do it on my own, and I don't involve the station social media pages, I don't involve station logos, the station doesn't come out with me, it is strictly something that I am doing on my own to raise money for charity, absent the radio station. Do you mind if I talk about it? We worked through it, and they let me talk about it on the radio. So it was good. We raised like $50,000 for rare diseases across the United States of America. It was specifically
over the 2 jumps or just the one?
One we raised 50, and the other we raised. So it was almost $100,000 for that.
That's a lot of money.
We got Congress people to jump out. I was Congressman Gary Palmer. One of the reasons I love Gary because he's a man of his word. Was on with me and
he jumped out.
Mm-hmm. He said he was on with me, and I asked him if he would jump, and he looked at me like I was insane, like I had just eaten a bug. This was the second time we did it. And he said, I'll tell you what, Matt, if you get somebody to donate $5,000 in the next 30 minutes, I'll jump. And we had it in about 4 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
and they came through? That donation came through?
That donation came through, and Gary jumped. It was pretty cool.
How was it? Was that what you got Jay to jump too, didn't you? Was that part of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay is a
Jay St. Clair.
Jay St. Clair, Fridays with Jay, Fry Jay, we call it. Jay has a serious fear of heights.
I do too. It's like my one legit phobia.
And I never understood a fear of heights until I saw Jay at the Hoover Dam. And Jay declared going out to the Hoover Dam, we had talked, we're friends enough, I know he has a fear of heights, and he said, well, I'm going to look over. You know, you got the one side that's the water side, the Lake Mead side, and then the other side is just a slope. It's a concrete slope all the way down to the river. And it's a long way down. And he said, I'm going to do it. He said, I'm going to overcome this fear, and I'm going to look over. And I was like, okay, Jay, cool. Good for you. He said, no, I want to do this. This is something I desire to do. And I watched a man's brain battle his body. I've never seen it in my life. I pick on him about it, but I wish I had videoed it. Jay wanted to look over. His body would not allow him to do it.
I can have an anxiety attack watching heights on TV.
See, and that's real. That's a real deal. So after my first jump, Jay and I talked, and he gave a considerable sum of money to the Rare Neurological Disorder Foundation that we gave the money to as well. And he made me a bet. I think he bet it was something about Tennessee and Georgia football. I think we bet the game that year. And he said that if something about if the Tennessee Volunteers were undefeated when they went to Georgia or something or another. But anyway, he lost the bet, and he agreed to do it. He wanted to do it, but it was based on my description. I would tell you, if any of you in this listening audience have ever had an inkling of desire to jump out of an airplane, do it. It was one of the most gratifying, pure adrenaline experiences I've ever had in my life. I never had a desire to jump out of an aircraft. I would do it in a heartbeat if I had a chance to do it again. Now, obviously, these were tandem jumps. We were not jumping solo.
Right.
But at the time, after the second jump, I was determined that I was going to learn how to jump solo. That's how much fun I had. And here's part of the reason. It's so absurd, Bell. It's so ridiculous. The entire experience, driving to the airport, getting suited up, learning about parachute packing, learning the ins and outs of what you do and what you don't do, going up in the airplane. It's 14,000 feet in the air. You look outside, and it's like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
It is not reality.
Your brain doesn't quite register, because that's the weird thing for me is I have no issues flying on a plane at all. It does not bother me one bit, because like you said, it's like looking out and seeing a screen or something. It doesn't register of what you're looking at, but then you get halfway down and it's like, oh, that's actually the ground.
I mean, yeah. I mean, no, and when you go, it's like when you watch other people go, it's like you watch people get sucked out of a vacuum.
Yeah.
Like you're going along and they just go, shoop, shoop, shoop. And you think that's the experience that you're going to have. We were last the first time I went, so I get to watch all of this. Once again, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. And you get to the point that you're ready to go, and you go, and it's not at all that shoop experience. It's just you're floating away from the airplane. You see the airplane. There it goes. And the wind and the noise. And it's the most tremendous wind noise you've ever heard in your life, the most exhilarating adrenaline rush you've ever had in your life. And then when you go under canopy, when they pull the chute and you get under canopy and you're, 5,000 feet in the air, it is the most peaceful experience I've ever had. Ever had. Would highly recommend it. Absolutely love it.
But just be sure that you're wearing a parachute when you do it.
Yeah, here's my justification. Because there was, you acknowledge that every so often things go bad. Here's what I kept in my mind. Every time there is a skydiving accident in the United States of America, we see it on the news. Every time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Every time. I looked up the percentages. It's like 0.00014% of the time or whatever. It's astronomically low percentage.
I would bet plane crashes are higher than skydive accidents.
I happen to know that they are. And I kept the thought in my mind that every time there's a skydiving accident, I hear about it on the television, and I haven't heard about one in forever. And there are car crashes that kill people every single day, and you don't hear about them because they're so common. So, and you got to die of something. So, I just, yes, and I will agree with you. 3348 says, I'm more scared on a Ferris wheel than I was skydiving. A Ferris wheel is scarier than skydiving to me. I would never, ever, 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 ever bungee jump. But we did skydiving. Anyway, Jay succeeded in his skydive. I didn't mean to talk about that. My apologies. We got off on that because I'm very pleased to announce that this armored MMA fight might happen in a different format, in a different way. I'm excited about the possibilities. We were told ixnay on the MMA, to use the big Latin parlance. But we might still make it happen one way or the other. So we're working on it. Chris Hand versus Matt Murphy, maybe with representation in the squared circle, as it were, for Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Speaking of mano a mano, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, huh? How about that, huh?
That's a serious question, right?
Come on, man. June 27th, just over a month away. Talk about being in the squared circle. CNN, no audience, just moderators. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, let's go after it. Let's make it happen. If we had to put a percentage on this thing actually happening, would it be over 50%?
I would think so, just because, first off, he shot his mouth off now. Mm-hmm. And secondly, people expect these debates. People want to see the AB in front of them. And if you don't do it, if you're the guy that says, I'm not going to do that, that makes you look weak.
Mm-hmm. I think a couple of things. I agree with that analysis. I agree that now that you've shot your mouth off and now you've said, yeah, big boy, let's go. Donald Trump's already said anytime, anywhere. I think Donald Trump means that. Here's what I believe the play is about to be, and I'm curious your thoughts at 615-737-9986. I would set it at just over 50%, but I think that there's plenty of slip between the cup and the lip when it comes to this debate happening. Because the Biden people don't want to debate. They just want to talk tough. They also, if they do have to debate, and here's part of the calculus, Bell, if they have to debate, they want to do it early enough where they can overcome whatever it is that happens.
Because he's going to make an idiot of himself on some level.
Well, I'm not so sure. I think the calculus involves his State of the Union address from this past year. I think that the Trump people believe, regardless of whatever danger this puts him in from a health perspective, I think they believe that they can pump him full of steroids. They can pump him full of whatever he was on, whatever methamphetamines or whatever the hell it was he was on. He was on something. And I defy you doctors out there to tell me he wasn't. You know he was. He was all jacked up and he was angry. And that is evidence of being on some level of steroid. I think they can put him on something like that and get him through a 90-minute debate.
But the thing is that was almost not, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled at him, so you can't say 100%, but that was 99% him just having the floor. Whereas when he goes up into a debate, especially with Trump, he's going to say something and Trump's going to go, you're full of crap, blah, 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 blah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no question that the deck will be stacked against Trump. There's no question that Trump will debate if it is in a format of Joe Biden's choosing. And this is the dynamic that is setting up. Donald Trump said anytime, anywhere. And Joe Biden said, okay, anytime, anywhere, except you can only do these 4 networks, CBS, ABC, CNN, or Telemundo. And so now you have one scheduled in June with CNN. You've got one scheduled in September with, ABC, I guess? And those are the only 2 that Joe has agreed to. If you're Trump, you know that you'll be debating the moderators. I think they've already said that they want mics cut when it's not your turn to answer. I think that actually helps Trump. If I had any...
Because it denies him the opportunity
to interrupt.
To make himself look bad.
Yeah. So Donald Trump has a habit, and if there's one thing that I would encourage him to do less of on a debate stage, and far be it from me to give the man advice, I recognize this habit because I have it too. And you longtime listeners of the radio show, you'll know that if I get into a discussion with someone that disagrees with me, I have a tendency to try to interrupt them to try to correct factual errors that they're making during their speech. And I try not to do that as much as I can, but sometimes it gets the better of me. Donald Trump does the same thing. And because I try to work on it myself, I recognize it and I say, Trump, let them hang themselves and you can circle back to it. You don't have to interrupt them. So I think that actually helps Trump. They will continue to move the goalposts. This is what Team Biden will do. I'll describe this to you in just a moment. We'll take your calls on it all. Jason writes in and says, the guy, talking about skydiving, the guy that I would jump with would need to be okay with being peed on.
Well, honestly, when you were talking about that, and my response to it was, I don't need to jump out of a plane to poop my pants.
So the second time I jumped, real quick, I won't bore you with these stories, but the second time I jumped, I was a little more, sure of myself. I knew the process. I knew what was going to go on. I knew that I would enjoy it. But the instructor that I had on my tandem jump, the first time he was so good. He was so, he was a calming influence. This second guy looked like he was about to fall asleep. And as we're going up, I'm trying to make conversation with him. And he goes, yeah, I swear to you, this is the conversation we had while we were going up to skydive. I worked all night last night at the plant. You can see the plant from here when we get up to about 10,000 feet. Now, they made me work a double. I thought I was going to get to sleep, but I didn't get to sleep. I got to go back tonight. He's like
And to
moaning.
be honest, I'm a little hungover.
Well, he's like moaning and complaining. And like he moaned and complained about his job and his life so much that when we got around to the point we were about to jump, I said, well, just get us down. And he said, and I quote, "Oh, you'll get down. It just depends on how fast we'll be going."
You're going to be back on the ground.
He said, gravity's going to get you down. And I was like, well, thanks, buddy. We got down. 615-737-9986. Debate, conversation. Scott Sapicki's going to update us on Murray County and the Columbia tornado coming up at 12:35 as well. And our usual visit with Cameron Smith at 2 o'clock. It's The Murphy Show on Super Talk. May is National Skin Cancer Awareness Month, and at Kraft Body Scan, they want to make you aware of the possibility that you might have something going on. Now, they don't want to scare you. They never will do that at Kraft Body Scan. When you sit down and talk and have your private health consultation with one of their certified radiologists, you'll understand that. They're not there to scare you, to make you believe that there's something going on. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. They are there to give you peace of mind, to help you understand what's happening in your body and what's not happening in your body. Well, there was a time when colon cancer or prostate cancer were serious issues that oftentimes, upon detection, were way too far advanced in your body. Well, now we've kind of knocked that out to a certain degree, a significant decline in mortality rates thanks to early detection. Well, if you're worried about anything going on in your body, what about a $119 opportunity to check that body out, the heart and the lungs out, and you can bring a loved one with you? It is their Kraft Body Scan May opportunity to get that heart and lung scan, now just $119, and this is an incredible value. It's 96% off the regular price. 96% off the regular price. Go to craftbodyscan.com, spell Kraft with a C. I've done this, and I heartily recommend it. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Kraft Body Scan. Here's the number to schedule an appointment today. 615-436-1000. 436-1000 for Kraft Body Scan. So I went to PAI Medical. I talked to Katie and the staff over there, and I said, well, there's probably nothing that you need to do for me. I mean, after all, if you're watching on Super TV, Talk TV, look at this hair. Well, Katie looked around, looked at the crown of my head, and said, Matt, yes, you're good. You're better than most, but I see some thinning. We see that you're losing some of the thickness of your hair. Not so much that the hair is falling out, but you lose the thickness before the hair actually falls out. They teach you all of this at PAI Medical and We Grow Hair. And so she recommended that we do the FDA-approved laser treatments to make sure that your hair is as thick and as full as it possibly can be to prevent any future hair loss, which is what I have done with PAI Medical, because I want to make sure I have a nice, full, thick head of hair for the rest of my life. Whether you're just beginning to lose your hair or you've been losing your hair for a while, We Grow Hair is the only clinic in Nashville with the proven medical solutions. They also have their trademark procedure that they call the multi-unit hair grafting and ARTIS robotic FUE hair transplant procedure. That's a fancy way of saying that results are guaranteed and they can help you no matter your level of hair loss. A free consultation is in front of you. Call We Grow Hair. Get that free consultation. That private consultation is available by calling 615-376-6010. 376-6010 or go to WeGrowHair.com. That's WeGrowHair.com. Do this today and restore your hair with We Grow Hair. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Thank you for being around with us. So all of that to say, circling back as I do, circle back was always a preferred phrase of mine. I got it out of the lexicon during the Jen Psaki era, and now I'm bringing it back. I mean, I'm not going to let them steal my joy. But circling back to the beginning of the show, I think the MMA fight might be on. The armored MMA fight might be on, but just with Chris Hand and myself might need surrogates to fight for us, professional surrogates. We'll find out, and we'll let you know. We'll keep you up to date on that on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Gail is in Bradyville with a thought. Hey, Gail, how are you?
Matt, I've been trying to get a hold of you since yesterday.
Oh, Lord. Well, I am so sorry, Miss Gail.
That's okay. And then I tried this morning, I think when Dan was on and then Chris, the call kept dropping. But anyway, I have two comments for you if you'll allow me. Yesterday you talked about Stormy Daniels, and you put something across the news that I didn't know. And it was that she was willing to give back the $130,000 and that she wanted the NDA invalidated because Trump didn't sign it. And I said to myself, oh, my God, Matt, that's the golden egg. It's plausible deniability. And even though they got him in court, which is stupid, for legal expenses, he didn't sign it. What billionaire sits down and goes over every expense when he has a multi-billion-dollar business?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
So that district attorney, we know is corrupt, but you found the golden egg.
Well, thank you. I mean, look, here's the deal, Gail, and thank you so much for the call, and thank you for your patience. God bless you. I appreciate you for listening. Here's the deal. Stormy Daniels, during her testimony, tried to have it both ways. She tried to suggest that none of this was about money, but it was all about money. It was always about money for her. If anyone has committed a crime here, it's Stormy Daniels. She extorted Donald Trump. She blackmailed Donald Trump out of $130,000. And, of course, it was a legal expense. 12:33, trial continues tomorrow with the finishing up of Michael Cohen's cross-examination. Big question there is whether or not Donald Trump's defense calls any witnesses at all. It's 12:33 on Super Talk. I got a bag of goodies from Savory Spice, and I can't wait to tell you about these bags of goodies. Now, if you need anything for the kitchen, if you need to replace staples like salts or peppers or blends, whatever it might be, whatever recipe you're cooking up, if you're experienced in the kitchen, they are your go-to place. They're local. Holly and David know what they're doing. They're more experienced. It's not just a thing on a shelf that's been there forever. Their spices are fresh. They are replenished frequently, and they are delicious, and they are local, and I love all of that. And Savory Spice has Spice and Easy Spice Mix to help those of you who are not as familiar in the kitchen as maybe you should be. I mean, look at this. I'm holding, on the Super Talk TV side of things, butter chicken. I've also got sun-dried tomato minestrone. I've got Korean barbecue pork, and more and more and more.
Show it again. I didn't have your camera.
Holly and David set me up. Look at their butter. There's the butter chicken. So what they do, they give you your shopping list: butter, chicken, heavy cream, and tomatoes. And then you have all the spices you need. It's 8 servings, takes 45 minutes, and you've got a delicious meal. And they've got the directions right there on the back of the package. That's how easy it is with the Spice and Easy meal starter kits at Savory Spice. So whatever your level of expertise in the kitchen, they have something for you at Savory Spice, plus great gift-giving ideas as well. Go by and see them. L&L Market, Charlotte Pike in Nashville. That's the location here in Nashville. And in Franklin, just off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. It's the one and only Savory Spice. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. Libertarian Lunchtime Hour is ongoing, 12:38, almost 12:39. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Cameron Smith, he of the Tennessee, and he writes for a number of different publications. He'll be along in the 2 o'clock hour. We'll continue talking about the possibility of Trump debate. So if you're on the line, hang out there. We'll get back to you in just a moment. You know, I know that we live in a very fast-moving, fast-paced world. And it was with that in mind that when our next guest hit me up regarding an update on something that happened just a week ago, I was obviously all over it. It was only a week ago that the nasty storms came through the state of Tennessee, leveling portions of Columbia with an EF3 level tornado and upsetting many lives and killing one individual and severely injuring another. And with that in mind, Representative Scott Sapicki, who had the opportunity to see this past Saturday as he was getting ready to get out and work his district and make sure everybody's safe and sound, had an update. And I thought, well, come on. And Scott said, well, I'll be in town. And I said, come by. And he said, okay. And here he is. Hey, Scott.
Thanks, Matt. Been a long week.
No, I mean, and we live in such a fast-moving, news-based world where headline after headline kind of overwhelms. I think it's easy for those of us that were not directly impacted to kind of move on and think, oh, well, all is well and lives are back to normal. Lives are not back to normal, and they're not going to be back to normal for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. We had over 240 homes have been affected on this tornado. 25 were totally destroyed. Another 37 have severe damage to them. You talked about the one loss of life, the other one's severe, but you see these things on TV, Matt, and when you see them in person and you walk and you talk to people, the amount of pain and suffering is going to be here in Murray County for a long time. I had a conversation with an elderly lady sitting on her porch talking with her about it, and her home was damaged a little bit, and she was talking to me about, how the home can be fixed, Scott. She said, we can fix the home. But then she started to walk me around her yard and point to the destroyed trees in her yard. One of them she pointed to, said, this is the tree my husband and I planted over 50 years ago when we moved in. And then the next tree over here, Scott, is the one when our kids used to sit on the swing and swing on the tree. And then these 5 trees in a row over here that are all gone, these are the ones that each one of our kids graduated high school. When you see the pictures, this is what I can tell you what it looks like. It looks like about a giant weed whacker, 900 yards wide for 12 miles, cut everything off 12 foot high. Mm-hmm. Every tree, house, roof for 12 miles. The piles of trees that are stacked on the road to be taken away, and TDOT, the highway department have done a fantastic job. Sheriff's department, I'm telling you, this is going to go down as a textbook response to a disaster of a tornado. It was incredible to see.
I don't know what your experience was last Wednesday evening. While Dan and Brian, Ken Weaver, and others were on air, I was traveling back from a vacation. I went to see my niece graduate college. And I had no idea that, I knew once I started listening to 99.7 that it was bad, and I knew that they believed that a tornado would touch down. But when I crossed over exit 46 on I-65, and then I saw some of the devastation to my left going north, and the numbers, what I was struck by, it was still an active situation. The tornado was maybe an hour old. There was still a thunderstorm moving through the area. All lights were off. All traffic was stopped southbound. The number of emergency responders, firefighters, police officers, EMTs, obviously. There was a life flight helicopter in the air in a thunderstorm attempting to land. The van that was missing the occupant and they didn't know where he was for some time, I saw that on the side of the road. But what I was struck with is in the distance, over the valley there, you could see on the ridge line in a neighborhood hundreds of police cars, hundreds of firefighters. And I got chills then and I get chills now thinking about the first responders that get out not after the storm, in the middle of the storm. Correct. In an effort to try to save lives and to help people, fellow Tennesseans.
As I was on my way to the command center there at the New Lucia Church of Christ, the power companies were already in their bucket trucks trying to restore power the best they could while lightning was hitting all around us. The thunderstorm you talked about, the emergency rescue crews were out already. And here's the problem. So many trees were blown down across the roads that they couldn't drive in there. Mm-hmm. They had to basically walk their way in there along 12 miles, going door to door looking for people, trying to help them, looking and trying to find people. And then once they found people who were injured, they were creating makeshift stretchers to get them out. The dedication, and you hear about this all the time, we love our EMS and our first responders. When you see them in action and their facial expressions of they realize that their job is now life and death to people, and they're going into places where people are coming out of or just trying to figure out where they are, it was something to see. And I'll remember this for the rest of my life, of just how everybody came together, worked together, and then the response from the communities of all of the food, the water, the clothes, anything that people needed has been flowing into Murray County for the last week, setting up places for people who just want to get a meal to go get a meal. Just very proud of my community, the county, the southern middle Tennessee, and then just being a Tennessean.
It's the way that it should be done.
Yeah.
As local as possible. I mean, sadly, and I'm not having a debate right now about the Federal Emergency Management Agency, but I will tell you it's been my experience over the 25 years that I've done this, that neighbors help neighbors. They get involved. Local communities help neighbors. We get involved. Communities that were not directly impacted get on it and get involved. Mm-hmm. And typically when the federal government comes in, everything starts getting upset and everything gets topsy-turvy. All they bring with them is an open checkbook. Mm-hmm. And I know that that is some of what people need. And I'm not necessarily debating that, but I'm just telling you, I love it when I see it done the right way, where neighbors get their chainsaws out and open up their hearts and their wallets and help their fellow neighbors in an event like this.
You're right. That's the one thing we're looking from FEMA is just to allow us to declare it so that we can get reimbursed for all the effort that everybody's putting forth. I'm going to give out 2 phone numbers if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
If you are looking to help in cleanup in Murray County, now you don't have to get certified to go out there, but I will tell you this, be very careful because there are trees down everywhere and these trees are under pressure. But if you want to help out, call 615-488-1875, 615-488-1875. And if you know anybody has been affected by this and need a place to stay, you can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, 1-800-RED-CROSS, and they will direct you to the proper place to go. And then, like I said, 240 homes, 25 destroyed, 37 major. It was, like you said, an EF3, 140 mile an hour winds, 900 yards wide.
What do people need?
Love, caring. I've
probably some time,
just
some healing.
Time. The houses will get fixed. Now, the loss of life I can't bring back. But everything else, it'll get fixed. But Matt, there's going to be a scar on Murray County for 60, 70 years as the trees.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Regrow. You're going to see it for 60 or 70 years. And I'll show you pictures when we're done here, but you cannot imagine the amount of trees that have been destroyed that are going to have to be taken away so that people can start to get their lives back. So you can start to travel the roads without worrying about trees falling on you. Mm-hmm. So tremendous response, very proud of Tennessee, Murray County, the first responders, and just the average citizens that showed up to say, I'm here to help.
We had a gentleman call us by the name of Brian who called the day after the event happened and said that he was the nephew of the woman that lost her life. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do a lot with it then because he was asking us to go to a GoFundMe, and I just have a certain level of responsibility because sad as it is to say, there are some people that try to take advantage in situations like this. Well, it turns out that Brian is, in fact, the nephew of Cheryl Lovett, who died in the event, the one confirmed tragedy in Murray County. And Bree Lovett's home was the home that was destroyed. That's Cheryl Lovett's daughter. Mm-hmm. And they have a GoFundMe, and I want to encourage people to go to GoFundMe and to give as you can. Just go to GoFundMe and type in Bree Lovett, BrieLovett is her name. If you type that in, you should get right there. They sadly did not have insurance on the home, and they're in need. And anything you can do to donate, if you feel compelled, just read the story for yourself and understand that this is a family member of ours. This is a community member of ours. This is one of our neighbors. This is one of our loved ones. And this is what we do. This is what we do in the South. This is what we do in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Just give as you can. And they've raised about $15,000 of their goal of $25,000. They're trying to make sure that Bree's daughter gets to graduate properly, that they have a place to stay while they try to figure out what next steps are. So give as you can over there. I don't know what else to do except to give some love and maybe give some money to a family that's in need. That they truly lost. You know, when we see these things, and I don't mean to be that guy, but you see people on television, and, you know, I understand in the moment when your house gets destroyed, right? you're like, I've lost everything. And you see that, you hear that phrase a lot, I've lost everything. Cheryl Lovett did lose everything.
That's correct.
That family did lose everything.
That's correct.
When you lose a family member, that's the one thing that we can't repair, that we can't rebuild. And so we need to give as we can.
One of the most important things, as myself and Senator Hensley believe, is we've gone out there and just sat with families and just let them talk to us. And I think that is comforting to people, is that you're just going out there to say, I'm here, let's talk.
They want to relate the story.
Right, and they want to tell what happened to them.
Right.
And they want to say it over and over and over, and that's fine. That's the healing process. And let them walk you around the yard and let them explain to you how their heart's broken. And there was a family that just moved here from Arizona. They found their retirement home. They built this beautiful log home, and the tornado came right through them, about 35 acres. The home has a little bit of damage to it, but every tree in their woods is down. Every tree. And they're looking around going, what do we do?
Well, and when it comes to those families who have such deep roots, you mentioned it at the beginning, and it touches my heart, and I'll tell you why. It's easy for us to say, well, it's just trees. Well, it's just property. But if you've been in a place for 30 or 40 years, those are memories, man. Those are moments in time. Every tree, every corner of that property is a moment in time. I remember, I lost, the greatest man I ever knew was my grandfather, and I lost him in 2015. And he had a reverse mortgage, and we allowed that to go back to the bank, and they're now renting it out. And I hadn't seen, and he had a lot of outbuildings. He had the old kitchen, and the old wash house, and the old shop back on the back of the property. And I thought I was fine with it. I'm good with it. I'm a grown man. This is life. I'll always have him in my heart. And I went back a couple of years ago, and they had taken down his shop. And I lost it, Scott. I lost my beloved mind, sitting there in my car crying like a baby because they had taken away a cheap, tin outbuilding. But that's not what it was. And I think about the people that lose trees. You mentioned graduation trees and that sort of thing. And you just have to be a human being and give a little of your heart to these folks because they're suffering right now.
So that's what's going on in Murray County right now. You have the phone numbers out there. Come on down if you want to help. There's plenty to do. Like I said, doing a great job. TDOT has been Johnny on the spot removing these thousands and thousands of trees that are everywhere.
Incredible. All right, give the numbers one more time.
I will real quick. Sorry.
Pull those back. No. And once again, it's BR, because several people are asking, BRIELOVETT. If you type that in to GoFundMe, you'll see the page there, and I encourage you to just read the story and do what you feel compelled to do.
And then the two phone numbers for crisis cleanup, if you want to volunteer, it's 615-488-1875, 615-488-1875. And then if anybody has any type of needs that please call 1-800-RED-CROSS for being able to stay somewhere, get fed. Also, the New Lucia Church of Christ has supplies and food, and First Family Baptist Church is feeding anybody that shows up for a meal.
Incredible. Thank you for the update. It's good to see you. I hate it that it's under these circumstances, but I like seeing you without politics on our plate.
True.
You know what I mean?
This is the real job.
Amen. And good work for you and for Joey Hensley. I know y'all have been on the ground and many, many others that are representing that community. Thank you for everything you're doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, there's Scott Sapicki giving us an update. It's 12:53, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Your Health Plan Man, yourhealthplanman.com. Let's talk about Pat Davis for a moment and what makes him different. Well, first and foremost, Pat is not trying to sell you one particular thing. He's not trying to sell you one particular plan of medical insurance. As a matter of fact, he's going to shop all of them. He's going to find out about you, and he works for you, not for an insurance company. He listens very closely to you, and he finds out what your needs are, and he does not try to upsell you in ways that you don't need it. As a matter of fact, Pat and his team have worked for 25 years now, getting you lower rates, getting you better coverage, and making sure that you're fully covered in the areas that you need, and you don't have to pay for those things that you don't. That's what it's all about. If you want a personal healthcare concierge, it is Your Health Plan Man at yourhealthplanman.com. They will design a plan that is managed by you, not by the government and not by the big insurance companies, by you. Let's get it done today. Make the call that so many others have made to Your Health Plan Man at 855-4-PLAN-MAN. 855-4-PLAN-MAN. You do that numerically, and it's 855-475-2662. Or simply go to Your Health Plan Man. Spell all of that out. yourhealthplanman.com. That's yourhealthplanman.com. Man, oh man, I love you guys. I'll tell you why in just a moment after I reintroduce you to the show. For you newbies in the listening audience, my name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can find us on the radio dial. You can find us on any internet streaming platform of your choosing. Also on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Super Talk TV is up and running. Like us, and we thank you for doing so. 106, almost 107, a good afternoon. The reason I say I love you guys so much, I think 14 people since we talked about the Bree Lovett GoFundMe page. I'm looking at the page, and it says 14 people have just donated. And I want to thank you to all of you who have gone over there to donate. For those who don't know, we were talking to Scott Sapicki about this, and we got a call from Brian, who is the nephew of Cheryl Lovett, who lost her life in the storms last week. I tried to call Brian back a couple of times, and I've not heard back, and I'm sure his life is just upside down, and I'm not faulting that. For those of you wondering, we tried to call him back. He was on air. He said that he was the nephew of the woman who died. This was the day after it happened, and he was talking to us about the beginnings of a GoFundMe, and I just owe it to the audience to make sure that I have my ducks in a row. I don't doubt anyone who's talking to me, but I have to doubt everyone who's talking to me, and I hope you guys understand that. Because as many good people as there are in the world, there are one or two bad ones. And obviously, Brian is not that bad one. He is suffering right now because he lost his aunt, the mother of Bree Lovett, Cheryl Lovett, who was the first confirmed casualty in the storm from last week. Bree has an 18-year-old daughter, Lauren, who is graduating school this week. They did not have homeowners insurance. So I thank those of you who have cared enough to go to their page. And, you know, I don't tell you what to do with your charitable giving. I want you to give as your heart and as your prayers dictate. But at the same time, I wanted to make you aware of it. And several of you have done that. And I thank you for it. God bless you. In the meantime, hey, Belle, I need you to do me a favor. I think maybe this is a day in the spirit of love and humanity. This is a day.
I told you, I'm not cutting my hair.
No. That's a different thing. Locks for Trump, by the way, day 76. Locks for Trump. Heidi Campbell's having a birthday.
Oh, yeah, today is her birthday.
Senator Heidi Campbell is celebrating. I don't know how old she is, but she's celebrating her birthday today.
29, 28.
Do you know how I know that it's Heidi's birthday?
I'm going to guess social media.
Because she told me on her X Machine account.
So I was right.
Team Heidi here. Join us in wishing Heidi.
Oh, that's her staff.
A very happy birthday. It is her account.
Right, but it's her staff.
I don't care.
It's like when I tweet out, hey, it's Matt's losing his mind.
You don't have access to my personal X Machine account.
That you know of.
Nor will you ever have access to my personal.
Have you seen some of the stuff that's been said on that account?
I see what you do on yours.
You're better off.
Look, I've never been banned like some people I know.
Hey, don't you shut your mouth. That's a badge of honor to have been banned from that cesspool.
That's probably true. So here's what I want you to do, though. It's Heidi's birthday, and I invited all of you. If you go follow me at Matt Murphy Show, like 4 hours ago, I invited all of you to go and there's this great photo of her with her. It looks like she's dancing or something or another. And it says, "Happy birthday, Heidi." And they've superimposed a fake birthday hat on top of her head. Ha, ha, ha.
Well, it's a Photoshop of a birthday hat.
Right. And I'm inviting you to Photoshop her in different settings around Nashville. Anyone want to Photoshop her around the city? Happy birthday, Heidi. Come by and see us again soon, I said. And I have a smiley face there on my post. You can find me at Matt Murphy Show on the X machine. If you're not following me, please do. At Matt Murphy Show. Lots of fun, lots of snark. I become a butthole the later the night gets. Anyway, that's true. Factually correct. Buzzed,
See, yeah, and you criticize me. If you did it right, you just start out the way you finish.
Buzzed tweeting is drunk tweeting. Don't do it. Don't get yourself a couple of drinks in and then get behind the wheel of that phone.
Don't tweet and drive. I mean, don't drink and tweet. Yeah.
Here's what I want you to do, Belle. You have her number.
Yeah.
I want you to call Heidi's cell phone from the off air.
Okay.
From the hotline, and see if she picks up. And if she does, tell her that I just want to wish her a happy birthday. That's it. That's all I want to do.
That's all you want me to tell her, or all you want to do?
That's all I want to do. I want to do. This is not a trap. I'm not setting anything up. I just want to wish her, in the spirit of love, I want to wish her a happy birthday on the radio. See if she'll do it.
Okay. And I was lying about her age. I mean, she has a daughter in college, so she's probably more like 32 or 33.
Yeah, that checks.
Yeah.
If she does not answer, tell her that this is Belle from the Matt Murphy Show, and that if you want to include yourself, you can. You don't have to. But that I certainly, and we on the show, wanted to wish her a happy birthday.
Okay.
Just let her, and let me know. Let me know.
All right.
Let's see what happens. All right. In the meantime, 615-737-9986. Would love to hear from you. 615-737-WWTN. You can also hit us up on the membersnutrition.com super text line. Always up and running. 8523 says, "It's a dunce hat, Murphy, not a birthday hat." 6867, "I stepped out of the car and I missed the GoFundMe page. Can you send me the link? Columbia Tornado page." So it is, if you go to GoFundMe, it is called Support for Bree Lovett's Family After Tragedy is the name. I bet you if you type in Bree Lovett, you will go right to the page. I'm not certain of that, but I'm fairly confident. But Bree is B-R-I-E. Lovett is L-O-V-E-T-T. I'll try to get a link to that up on my social media coming up in just a moment. In the meantime, inflation numbers are way too high for the liking of Joe Biden and others, and they are just not going down. Joe Biden continues to lie about it, and the media continues to allow him to do so. As a matter of fact, I was looking at some of the fact-checking that's being done on social media and beyond regarding some of the media appearances that Joe Biden has made over the last week or so. Now, he doesn't do a lot of sit-down interviews, but on May 8th, President Joe Biden took the unusual step of submitting to an interviewer who was an actual, quote-unquote, journalist. CNN anchor Aaron Burnett spoke to Joe Biden, beginning to delve into Trump's promises of new jobs in Wisconsin and why should people believe that you will succeed at creating jobs when Trump failed. You understand that the way that she's tough on Joe Biden is to be even more tough on Donald Trump, apparently. And Joe Biden lied repeatedly about some of the numbers. He lied about the inflationary rates. He lied about a lot of different things, and the media just allows him to get away with it. I do believe that the inflation rates, the fact that he changed his tune on tariffs in China, he's having to reset a lot of these policy initiatives that began with Donald Trump and were working for Donald Trump. And he completely went against them when he came into office, having no idea what the impact would be. In other words, he made inflation. Inflation was already bad because of some of the awful COVID-19 policies that happened against the better advice of Donald Trump himself and others. Oh, sorry, I got distracted for a moment. I'll get back to the GoFundMe in just a moment. 8052 says, I'm willing to donate, but not to GoFundMe. They take way too much. I did not decide to go to GoFundMe for the family. I'm just telling you where they're raising money. If you want to try to connect with them in some different sort of way, I think there's a connection point. Let me see. I don't know how much they take. I honestly don't. I think they make you aware of that. I believe they're open about that. So if you just want to, I think that, there's a contact for Ryan Dunning, who is the organizer out of Columbia of the event. So there's a contact there. You can write in your name, your email, and your message, so you don't have to give. So if you go, 8052, I understand what you're saying. If you go, or 0272, or any of the others of you that are telling me this, I didn't set up the GoFundMe. I didn't set up the donation site. I'm just relating it to you. I'm fascinated now that I look at it with the number of people that are coming after me for promoting GoFundMe. I didn't,
You
folks.
bastard.
I mean, folks, calm down. I did not set this up.
That's just where it is. That's
just where it is.
I mean, it could have been Indiegogo or anywhere else. It just happened to be GoFundMe.
If you do not want to give to GoFundMe, no one's making you. And I am certain that if you, God bless you, I'm certain that if you contact Mr. Dunning, who organized the GoFundMe, and speak to him, he will be happy to figure out a different way. If your heart is to give, he is happy to figure out a different way for you to give. I'm certain of that.
I called her and she did not answer, and her message on her phone specifically says, please don't leave a message, text me instead. So I sent her a text asking her if she would come on so you could wish her a happy birthday.
Okay. And let's see if she answers. I would love to. I'd love to wish Heidi a happy birthday. GoFundMe automatically deducts a 2.9% transaction fee. That is to cover debit and credit card charges. And they also take 30 cents from each donation. 30 cents from each donation. I don't know. So they do take a certain percentage. So for those who do not wish to do that, you also have a contact point, and you can contact the organizer of the donation page and give him hell for doing it that way.
These crowdfunding sites, they're for-profit businesses, people. You don't expect them to work for free, even in a charitable situation. Any money that Brian's family receives is more money than they have now.
Yes. And if you think about it, if you're willing to give Brian and Bree and the rest of the Lovett family $100, if you have a way to give them $100 directly, I would encourage you to do that. I'm not promoting GoFundMe. I'm not promoting any of these sourcing sites.
Yeah, again, you had nothing to do with where it was set up.
The idea, though, is that but for some of these sites have been good things, I would think. They give the ability for people to draw awareness to an issue or a cause that we might want to give to. So, overall, if you choose not to want to give to them, then I encourage you to give in some other way. 119 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll continue talking Joe, and I'm going to talk transit in a moment. Something occurred to me yesterday. I was actually having a conversation just after we got off air about transit in the city of Nashville. And it occurred to me. Government is sending us a mixed message about how they believe we should get around this city. And it's happening in every major metropolitan area in the United States of America. And I want to discuss, Freddie O'Connell just came out with his transit plan for the city of Nashville, which, even if you live in Hendersonville or in Columbia or in Murfreesboro or in Mount Juliet or in Ashland City, I love Ashland City, Pegram. If you work in the city of Nashville, this will impact you, and I'm curious what you think about it. 615-737-9986. We'll break it down right after this. The Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to see you. Gentlemen, are you feeling low down sluggish? Are you feeling, less than yourself? Maybe you just chalk it up to middle age. Perhaps you're like me. You've reached 50 and you just can't do it anymore. You just can't get to the gym anymore. You just can't get to do the yard work anymore. Maybe this is manifesting itself in a way that is affecting your relationship. Well, if this is the case, I want you to get to Tennessee Men's Clinic. At very least, check this box for a very low cost. They will get you in, they will get you examined, and they will tell you their findings. They'll get a little blood work from you, and they'll find out what's going on inside of your body. And there are levels that you need to know. And if certain levels, T levels and the like, if they've gotten to down to a certain place, then that could be impacting your energy levels. And it's important that you keep that up. It could be as simple as a visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic to get you back to life again, back to energy again, back to the vitality that you enjoyed last year or the year before or 5 years ago. Let's do this. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. They have 2 locations to serve you. The beautiful new facility in Cool Springs is state-of-the-art. The old facility in Midtown is state-of-the-art as well. It's been there for about 10 years now. I call it the old facility because, comparatively speaking. But either one of those have the urologist that you need to talk to at Tennessee Men's Clinic. Call them today for that appointment. 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Hey, good news. You want some good news? Red Lobster's shutting down. There's some good news.
I didn't know they're still open.
Man, oh man, we need to get on that lobster fest while we still have a shot at it.
Speaking of seafood, when was the last time, if ever, that you went to Long John Silver's?
I can't remember if it was Long John Silver's or Captain D's. I remember when it was. It was like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
and it was disgusting.
Captain D's I still go to on a very irregular basis just because I don't eat that much fast food anymore. But who the hell is keeping Long John Silver's open? Why aren't they going the way of Red Lobster?
By a show of hands on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Because I don't know. And I probably have been to, I don't remember which one I went to. I think it was a Captain D's. But which is the fancy of the two?
I don't think you would call either of them fancy.
I mean, I understand. But, I mean, which is the Walmart and which is the Kmart?
I think Long John Silver's would definitely be Kmart.
So Captain D's better. Captain D, of the two, if I made you go into one, you going into Captain D's.
Oh, but yeah, without a doubt.
Well,
you couldn't make me go into a Long John Silver's. Their food is gross.
Brian says, I love Long John Silver's. I'm a monster.
You are, Brian. You are absolutely a monster.
Jason said, I ate at Long John Silver's last week. Greasy and great. Lindsay says, everybody's saying that Long John Silver's is the fancy place and that you're
They're
insane.
out of their
You're
minds.
mentally insane. Now I'm getting some Captain. Now Captain D's making a comeback on the membersnutrition.com super text line.
Like 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, I remember specifically deciding never to go to Long John Silver's again because I had gone through a period where every time I would get something from them, it would be undercooked. And that's just undercooked fish with batter on it is gross.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of gross, let's talk about Red Lobster for a minute.
Why? They're shutting down.
Well, they've shut down a lot of their stores. It's been a long time coming. Unless they paid me. Now, understand something. If Red Lobster or Long John Silver's for that matter, if they wanted to bring me into the fold and offer me an opportunity to endorse the fine selection of seafood and fish that they have at either of those establishments, then things might change. Because that's the way I
would you not expect a certain level of quality for you to want to put that out there for your listeners?
In order for me to endorse or recommend any of those products, I would need to go through an extensive research process. I'm actually not kidding.
You don't want to just endorse something because, you it's got your name on it. You want it to be quality stuff.
Believe it or not, I vet it. Yes. But somebody called it Captain's disease.
That's just not necessary. That's just rude.
I just got so distracted because somebody said
unnecessarily rude.
Captain Disease is probably my favorite. Look, Captain Disease is my favorite. Long John Silver's is trash.
It is. They're correct.
8709 said something that I've been hearing all of my life. I've heard this phrase more times than I can count. If I had $1 for every time I've heard this, I'd be a rich man. I went to Red Lobster last month and hated it.
And I'll go again next month and hate it.
And hate it, right? I just, are we putting Red Lobster's better than either? Okay, far be it from me to.
I would say it used to be. Red Lobster used to be a quality restaurant back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and I don't know what happened to it. There must have been some losing of the way on a corporate level, but it's just not that good anymore.
Oh, everybody talks about this damn cheddar biscuit. Oh, the cheddar biscuits. Ooh, those cheddar biscuits. Oh, I love the cheddar biscuits. Whatever. They're cheese biscuits.
And you can have a good item on your menu and still have most of the menu be not quality.
0272 says Red Lobster has the same carpet as when they opened since the 1980s.
Ain't that the truth?
I tell you what. Captain Disease is an old term for the place, at least 45 years old, said Statman. I bet so. And everybody's talking about the dadgum Cheddar Bay biscuits. Look.
Stop with the biscuits. We'll go fund you some biscuits.
I learned the real ways of the world inside of a Red Lobster when I was probably 19 years old.
Working there?
No. When I was growing up, my mama, most of you know that my mama had brain cancer when I was 5 years old. She had a malignant brain tumor. She had surgery to remove the tumor. And she had a series of radiation treatments over the next several years in order to eradicate the rest of the cancer. She eventually lived 25 more years and died at the age of 53 in 2003. She lived the last 13, I think, 14 years of her life inside of an assisted living facility. God bless my mama. So when my grandparents and myself and my brother and my sister would go back and forth to the chemotherapy appointments to Augusta. It's about 30 miles from Thompson, no P in Thompson, Thomson. We would drive, and we would typically not eat. We would eat before we got there, or we would eat before we left, and then we get there and we do the thing, and then we come home. But if she had, for some reason, an extended stay, or if there was some other thing going on, or if the timing was right, we would eat. And we only ate at one of two places. We either ate at the cafeteria at the hospital, which it was the 1980s, and it was not good. 70s, actually. 79 to 80. Or we would eat at Morrison's Cafeteria, which was one of those old school, get your tray, pick your dessert first, then get your roll or your biscuit or your piece of cornbread, and then you get it's like an old meat and three, but they serve it.
I remember there being Morrison's around here. I guess the only other thing I could compare a Morrison's to would be a Luby's.
Yeah. Just sure. So I remember driving by the Red Lobster, and I never asked because I knew not to. I remember driving by the Red Lobster. I remember driving by Steak and Ale, and I remember thinking that's where the rich people eat. When I was a kid, it was seared into my mind that Red Lobster was where the rich people eat. And so I told myself when I had the ability and I became a grown-up, I was going to eat at Red Lobster. And this was, by the way, Todd, this was long before Ryan's. It was long. I mean, I don't know that we had a Western Sizzlin'. We had one in Thompson, but yeah. I get where you're going with that. So I was 19 years old when I went to the Red Lobster. And I thought, well, this is going to be the height of my dining experience for the rest of my life.
Well, that goes back to,
And it sucked.
Things are comparative to what you know. Like now, you've since you've been an adult and gone through your career, what you are, do you consider yourself rich?
No.
Would your 19-year-old self have considered you now rich?
Yes.
So it's just a comparative of what you're used to.
Well, I mean, frankly, I think if millions meant millions like they used to mean millions, or thousands meant thousands like they used to mean thousands, maybe by some comparison, I would be. But things have changed considerably from then until now. But
thanks,
yeah,
Joe.
I get it. I mean, thanks, Joe. Thanks, inflation. If you want to offer a spirited defense of the Dead Lobster, then do so. But for me, it's been a lifelong journey of mine to destroy the business, and we're well on our way. 99 stores shutting down without notice, just like the Red Lobster would do without notice. Shutting down. Oh, by the way, if you want to pick out your food while it's still alive and watch it die, you're a sicko.
Actually, I do want to do that, but it's not the lobster I want to do it with. It's the cow.
I thought you were going to say the cat.
No.
That's a step too far. 615. I used to tell a joke. Never mind. 615-737-9986. More on inflation coming up in just a moment. You know, when it comes to the dangerous world that we live in, you need a friend on your side. You need someone that you can believe in and trust. And if you're in the workplace or a school or a church, you need a company that can come in and help assist you in training your employees, your staff, your friends, your loved ones about what's going on and what to do in a dangerously developing world. And that's where Defense Systems comes in. Defense Systems, they have trained us at Cumulus Nashville. As a matter of fact, it is where I met Brink Fiddler. And I said, I've got to get you on the air. I've got to get you in my life, and I've got to tell more people about you. And thankfully, we developed that relationship. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm right here in Middle Tennessee. Their expertise lies in their experience. They have well over 1,000 hours of real-world experience breaking into facilities and neutralizing threats within those facilities. And now they're going to help fortify your facility to make sure that the bad guys won't be able to break in. And if they do, or if something bad happens, and by the way, Brink will tell you that the odds of you experiencing workplace violence or an active shooter situation are minuscule. But the point is, it is not zero. And that means hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained. So if you're the decision maker in any of these types of facilities, it's time to get trained up and train your staff as well with Defend Systems. DefendSystems.com, 615-236-6484, 236-6484 for Defend Systems. Why couldn't we do it like this? Are you registering in there? Hello, hello. Check 1, 2. Why do you keep turning me back on? Do you keep turning me back on? I have no idea what the listening audience may have just heard about what just happened while we were on break. But if you heard any of that, then I don't know what to tell you. They have taken what was a fairly simple process and made it so damn complex that we don't know when we're on the air and when we're off the air. Sometimes I have to record promotions. And I asked the question, and I'm getting told, are all of you that heard me listening online? Because I think what happened was the mic feeds from our studio online. And I thought, if anybody heard me do the actual promo for Memorial Day, then I'm being given erroneous information. No, they're saying that they heard it on the radio. Did you hear the promotion on the entire promotion on YouTube and Facebook? See, I don't know what you heard. If you just heard me say, hey, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, if you heard everything on the radio, then I'm being given erroneous information because we went through the board over there to run that. And anyway. Okay, now I'm getting a lot of different information. I think we did it the right way, though, Bell. What do you think? We started the wrong way, and then we figured it out.
I think you're correct.
Because I don't think the entire promotion went on the air. But I'm wondering if the promo was heard. No, nobody heard the promotion on the radio. I'm wondering if the promo we were doing a Memorial Day liner.
Yeah,
is what we call them. Where I say, hey, we're not here for today. I hope you have an enjoyable and somber, reflective Memorial Day, yada, yada, yada. We do that in advance of Memorial Day, and Bell slips those in there and does great work at it. And does great work with the best ofs on holidays like that. So the entire promo went out on the YouTubes. So this is my point, is that I never believed them when they told me, because we've been told repeatedly by, I'm not going to name any names, but he's short and he's bald, and you hear him 5 to 9 every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're told repeatedly
Charlie?
that if you did, no, Johnny B. Oh. If you go through the sideboard, nobody hears it. But that's not true, because everybody says they heard the promo. We were going strictly through the sideboard.
Yeah, and not to get too engineerial about it, but I had that out of every channel except the one that would feed the computer. I needed it to.
So what we've set up this fabulous system to be able to record things right here in this studio that has me so afraid to do that I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah, it's almost like we just have to wait till the show's over, go in the other side of the building.
Because I promise you this, folks, I don't have a lot. You know what? I used to drink a lot more than I do now, and I stopped all of that. Or I didn't stop all of it, but I calmed a lot of that down. I don't smoke anymore. One of my major vices remains cursing, and I admit that. And let me promise you, I'm dangerous around a hot mic, and so I'm a little bit nervous about all of that. Okay, 615-737-9986 if you want to get involved in the show. 615-737-9986. I promised you a conversation on transit. Mayor Freddie O'Connell. Has anybody felt like Mayor Freddie's been just doing I mean, I know that those of us who live in the suburbs, Mount Juliet and Hendersonville and some of those other communities that I've talked about from time to time, and I love them all. I've visited them all, and I love them all. I know you want to be dismissive of Nashville, but we need Nashville. And don't tell me you don't. You do. You don't pay income tax for a reason. And part of the reason that you don't pay income tax, the amount of tourism dollars that come and flow into the city of Nashville. So we need Nashville to be functional, not only for the people that live here, but for the people that visit here, because that is the way that we stave off government from coming after more of your money. And so who is mayor of Nashville matters, whether you live in Davidson County or not. It does. Now, I labor trying to explain to those who live in the suburbs and those who listen to us from even further parts out. I understand why it might not feel like it applies to you that much, but I would promise you that it does. If Nashville ceased to exist, if Nashville tourism dollars dried up, if we had a huge flood like happened some 12 or so years ago, I don't know exactly when it was, 2010, so maybe it was 14 years ago. If you have some sort of massive natural disaster event that would, or man-made like COVID, and that shuts this city down, I promise you the government of the state of Tennessee and the government of your local municipality is still going to want its money. And right now, we enjoy not paying income tax. And trust me, I'm fresh enough off of a state that took large amounts of my paycheck for state income taxes. And this is the first state that I've lived in that did not collect. So for those of you who are unicorns, who have been here a while, let me tell you something. The government's still going to want its money. And so it is important, not that we fund necessarily, and I'm not in favor of that, not that we utilize these public-private partnerships as much as we typically do, because I'm not necessarily in favor of that. But I am here to tell you the government is going to want its money regardless. And I know, and I studied up, and I understand that Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Uncle Phil Valentine and a lot of others that were here during the push for an income tax pushed back, and the people of Tennessee pushed back in a way that we said no. But if there ever comes a time where they think they can get it again, they'll get it again. Government will always want its money, is my point. So we certainly do need to respect, at least, and pay attention to issues surrounding Nashville politics. And I've got to tell you, I have not been impressed nor necessarily disappointed. I want Freddie O'Connell to, if Freddie O'Connell wants to impress me, if he wants Matt Murphy singing his praises on the radio on the regular, you can propose your transit deal all you want. Pass the Nashville pass the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway deal. Go ahead and sign that deal. Get it through the Metro Council. Use your leverage to make that happen. Get the deal signed with Bristol. Protect that property. And I'll believe you when you tell me how much you believe in old school Nashville. How about that? On the part of the transit system, I have read enough to understand that the mayor's focus, and he just delivered his State of the Metro address. He did so in front of a WeGo bus at the Expo Center at the Nashville Fairgrounds, seized another opportunity to share his plan to overhaul Nashville transportation. He said, quickly dispelling any ideas about significant decisions on the Speedway renovation deal inherited from Mayor John Cooper's administration, I have no big announcements for you today about the fairgrounds. Instead, he highlighted the fairgrounds' community value and transportation challenges. People want to be at this site, and that's why it's so important that we've improved transit access, added sidewalks, made it ever so slightly easier to ride your bike to a Nashville soccer club game. But it's taken us years to make incremental improvements, and we need to move faster. We're going to need your help. O'Connell's proposed a transportation improvement program would raise taxes in Davidson County by 0.5 cent to fund the construction of 86 miles of sidewalks, and improve 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365 a day a year bus-based transit system, 12 community transit centers, 17 park and ride facilities, 600 upgraded smart traffic signals, and much, much more. The plan got the stamp of approval from an independent audit last week, moving another step closer to being on the ballot in November for voters of Davidson County. I don't live in Davidson County. And so it is up to Nashvillians, Davidson County residents, to determine for themselves whether or not they're willing to pay a little bit more money for more buses and more sidewalks, and I guess more bike lanes. I will say this, that it's better than trying to go all in on rail, light rail, or whatever. Many individuals in Freddie's position would try to go all in on this concept that you can convince the people of Brentwood or Mount Juliet or Hendersonville or Ashland City, or I'm just kind of going around in a circle, Dixon for that matter, Columbia, Sumner County, Gallatin. The suggestion that you could convince those people to, instead of getting in their automobiles and driving themselves to work, to get on light rail and light rail it to work is ridiculous. Does not work, does not happen, particularly in the South. If you do this, you need to go all the way. Here's what I would suggest. If you want to make bus ridership a priority within the city, for those who perhaps either can't afford an automobile or for those who might be willing to get out of their automobile for the convenience of riding a bus from here to there, You better make this the most tricked out bus on the face of the earth. Here's what the city of Nashville needs to do. Here's the Murphy proposal. You ready? Nashville party buses. I'm not kidding. You know these party barges and party barns and party wagons that roll around in downtown Nashville and woo, and we got parties going on them? Do that. Do that. So I don't know that I would go so far as to suggest you should have alcohol on them, but I wouldn't necessarily be against it. Provide free Wi-Fi, trick those buses out, make them as convenient as possible, make them as cool as humanly possible, and make them free. Make them free. If the goal is to alleviate traffic, would we not all agree that traffic sucks in and around Nashville? For those of us who have to come down, I know some of you don't. If you're going to go the bus route, no pun intended, then you better make it cool as possible to ride the bus and as safe as possible to ride the bus. Make them like these party wagons, man, and make it free. And as I was thinking about this last night, I'll say this and then I'll get to a few of your telephone calls. Ken has called about Red Lobster, Jeff and Johnny about transportation. I was talking about this yesterday to somebody. The government, the same government, Bell, tell me if this makes sense. The same government that told us 60 years ago that we had to, 60, 70 years ago, most major metropolitan areas had some form of rail-based transit, whether it was trains from Brentwood to Nashville or trains from Franklin to Nashville or trains from Murfreesboro to Nashville or Mount Juliet to Nashville. Cities all over America had trolley cars. They had a lot of light rail systems within their cities themselves to get people around the city without the need for an automobile. And those same cities were told by their federal overlords and their state overlords, and they themselves said, hey, you citizens of our cities, get your butts off these trolley cars and get on the interstates. They replaced the rail system with the interstate system, telling us that that would be better. And now, 70 years later, they're attempting to replace the interstate systems with what?
19th century tech.
Rail systems. Because they tell us that will be better. I don't know which will be better or not. I just want you to pick, jackasses.
Or actually, instead of picking, why don't you mind your own damn business and let the consumer do it?
Well, the problem is that we have to depend on the government to provide us the roadways.
Yeah, you lost me at depend.
Well, I mean, I don't know how else you want to do it. I understand that we're libertarians here. But sadly, we have to work with government in order to create a transportation system that we're all going to share. That is a part of the socialization of our society. And we got to figure it out. We have to deal with government in this response.
But dude, we've had, you just said it's been 60 years and now they're pancaking again to where we need to go back to the old way. Oh, well, that, in another 40 years, that didn't quite work. We'll go back again.
See, and that's my point, is I don't feel like the government knows what the hell will
they
work.
Don't.
They're just trying something different. Oh, let's do the interstate system. That will alleviate everything. Well, and I'm not against necessarily the interstate system as it exists. I think it's been fairly successful in making people mobile around the United States of America. But I would say that with the interstate system came a lot of drawbacks. It busted up communities in individual cities. Ask the people on Jefferson Street what it did to their community. Number two, it destroyed small town America. The interstate system in this country destroyed small town America. There is no debate. Those small towns that have continued to exist do so levied against the weight of the interstate system. 615-737-9986. Matt Murphy Show. Come, stand by. The Dr. Gill family of chiropractic care physicians want to see you. The Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief is there for you. And I know because not only am I a spokesperson, I'm also a client. That's right. I've got back pain. I've got issues. And I love the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Whether it's back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain, any pain on your person, they can handle it without having to ask you to take some pills, without having to worry about needles, without having to worry about surgery. They're going to take care of you. What about getting pain-free in a natural way? How about that? And it costs less than $50. For less than $50, you go in, you get a comprehensive examination. Your first examination and your first treatment is included in this price. And they do x-rays. They get to the bottom of what issues you have, and they solve them at the Dr. Gill Center. It's a team approach, and they have well over 100 years of collective experience in chiropractic care, and they want to talk with you. Give them a call today at 615-882-4838. Tell them that Matt Murphy sent you. Matt Murphy says, don't take a pill, call Dr. Gill. And the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin.
2:01, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 73 degrees right now, mostly cloudy today on Music Row. Got a slight chance of thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Complete weather forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes. The corruption trial of New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez moving forward. Derek Dennis reports.
After the jury swearing in on a lunchtime break, the bribery and corruption trial of New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez went ahead with opening statements, with prosecutors alleging Menendez accepted cash, gold bars, mortgage payments, and a luxury convertible as bribes in exchange for the senator's political help for 3 New Jersey businessmen and the governments of Egypt and Qatar. One of those businessmen already pleading guilty. The 2 others are co-defendants in the case, along with the senator's wife, Nadine, who will be tried separately this summer. The 70-year-old Menendez has pleaded not guilty.
Election 2024, President Biden and former President Trump have accepted an invitation from CNN to debate on June 27th and on ABC on September 10th. Biden issued the challenge in a 14-second video to social media this morning, but he wants the debates on his terms, meaning he wants only certain media outlets to organize them instead of what's been tradition dating back to the 1980s.
The Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates has hosted every fall face-off between the major party candidates since Bush and Dukakis debated in 1988. That's 9 cycles of American presidential elections. But now the Biden campaign says that model produces noisy spectacles. And rather than 3 debates before audiences, Biden wants just 2, held in otherwise empty TV studios. For his part, Donald Trump tells Fox News he accepts Biden's challenge.
And the other news outlets Biden's willing to debate on are ABC, Telemundo, and CBS. That's the latest news. Weather up next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Have you been to the Glock store? What are you waiting on? Why are you not going to the Glock store? It's the best, it's the biggest, it's the brightest. They've got the Shoot 270 rooms as opposed to the shooting lanes that the other guys have. Man, oh man, it is great. And now I have a reason for you to go. If you need another reason to go, and I go to train, Chris Hand goes to train, Dan Mandis goes to train. We're all Glock store aficionados, if you will. But now we'll all be there together in one location, June 1st, about 15 days away, I think it is, on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at the Glock store itself. It's the big 4th annual open house, giveaways galore. I mean, it's enough that Mandis is going to be there. And he says that every single person that comes in and tells him that he heard me say this on the radio, you get to give him a big old Mandis hug at the 4th annual open house at the Glock store. But you can also enter for raffles, and they have a lot of giveaways going on. I'm talking optics, Vortex, Red Eye Optics, and they're giving away a $1,700 Glock, man. A $1,700 custom Glock given away at the Glock store on the day of the event. And you have to be there to register. You don't have to be there to win. That's a big deal. So go to glockstore.com to find out more information, and we'll see you June 1st at 10 a.m. at the Glock store for their 4th annual open house. Hour number 3 is upon us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We thank you for being a part of the show today. It's been a lively one. It's been all over the joint, all over the map. We've been hopping around like a box of frogs, and I don't expect that hour number 3 will be any different, as we are joined in studio by the one, the only Cameron Smith. He writes for the Tennessean. He speaks on Super Talk 99.7 WTN with a certain amount of regularity, and I want to thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you for
I love this crew, the audience, everybody. It's fun, man.
Well,
it's always fun.
I'm specifically thanking you for filling in a couple of days last week.
Oh yeah,
you did a great. I don't like to lie. According to the audience, you did an okay job.
I'm the okayest. I'm radio grandpa is what I advertise myself as. I get to get them ginned up and then hand them back to you. It's great.
There you go, kids. Enjoy yourself.
Matthew, I got a response.
You have a response to what?
Your desire to wish Heidi Campbell a happy birthday.
Okay, so let me reset this real quick. First off, Jason wants to know who's the guy with a mullet and the Chiefs shirt doing the news.
Hey,
That's not a mullet.
it's not a mullet.
He's a homeless man we found off the street.
Is that not a mullet?
No.
No,
No, there's no business in the front.
It's all party.
It's all party, baby.
Front to back.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't have a mullet then either, right?
No.
No, it's all party.
Mac Morty, party in the back.
Now you want to see super mullet, super duper. I don't know what you're doing mullet. Then that's Cameron Smith.
Yeah,
on
it's
televisions right now.
Lower jaw mullet.
Yeah, the lower jaw mullet. Yeah.
All right. So earlier today, did you saw Heidi's post, right?
I sent it to you because I was like, "This is awesome."
So she wished herself a happy birthday, essentially. Although it was her staff wishing her a happy birthday. And so I encourage people to put Heidi in various places in the city. We got a homeless camp placement. I don't know if we have anything else. But I thought maybe on her birthday, she's of a certain mood, a certain spirit, a life spirit, that she's willing to bury, let bygones be bygones.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she's willing to bury the Constitution because that. Yes.
Well, I mean, that's every day.
Every day.
So I told Belle to call Heidi and ask her if she's willing to come on and allow me to wish her a happy birthday, because I would like to sincerely wish her a very special birthday. Everybody deserves that, no matter how much of a socialist you might be. And Belle called her and left a message. And you also texted her, is that correct?
Yeah, her voicemail message actually requests that you not leave a message, that you text her instead. So I hung up and I sent her a text and I just said, Heidi, Matt wants to know if you'll call in so he can wish you a happy birthday on air. That was what I left. And I got a response that said,
okay, wait, I need to get ready for it. All right, go. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Senator Heidi Campbell, everybody.
So he can insult me? Why would you all be bullying and insulting someone on their birthday? Kind of blank, right?
Did she say blank, or
No.
did she say the kind of what? What does it start with? What
S.
letter? Like S-H?
Kind of S-y?
Kind of essy.
Oh, with a Y.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I'm wishing her a happy birthday.
That's not what I wanted to do at all. I didn't want to bully anybody. I just wanted to wish her a happy birthday.
And I said, well, I don't think that was actually the plan, but I understand.
What are you doing
What
over
am
there?
I doing? Oh my gosh, what?
I'm trying to be
so nice.
I'm trying to be the bigger person.
I wished her a happy birthday. I just took a picture of you and said, "Wish you were here. Happy birthday."
Did you send it to her?
Yeah, just now.
I'm trying to bury the head. She's still this. I think that little thing where I kicked her out of the studio is still stuck in her craw. I don't think she's gotten.
But hey, I responded back and I said, well, I don't think that was actually the plan, but I understand. So, let it go at that.
Yeah, we got off. She and I got off on the wrong foot because I was moderating a debate for the Tennessean, and inadvertently, I referred to her as Mrs. Campbell, and she, after the thing was over, came up to me and very clearly did "It's Senator," and I was like,
"Whoa,
what?
Oh, well, that's great."
Like I wasn't trying to. I apologize if I misspoke, but I want to be like, you work for us, like, really?
I thought you were going to go a different route.
Well,
I mean, if she'd come up and said it's Ms., not Mrs.
Sure.
Okay, fine.
Fair.
Fine. That's
Senator.
fair.
Senator.
It's senator.
Yep.
You know what my response to that would have been? I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. No. I normally pronounce that word screw you.
Yeah, I thought
It's
of that.
screw you, Heidi Campbell.
But it just didn't set well with me. And then she was advocating for prosecuting basically parents of children who are injured or cause injuries with guns. And I mentioned my history where my brother committed suicide. And I said, you would prosecute my grieving parents because an older teenager made a choice. He was trained in gun safety, everything, made a choice. You would go after them criminally. And she basically was yes. And I'm like, that takes a special kind of monster. And so we haven't been on the best kind of terms because of that.
Well, and in my defense, if you want to go back and listen to the moment or watch the moment where Heidi left unceremoniously the studios of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk, I know that it has been characterized as me kicking her out of the studio, but she said clearly that she was not going to sit here and be called a hypocrite and a liar. And I wasn't going to stop calling her a hypocrite and a liar, so I felt it was best if she left. I think that's fair.
I actually, though, I appreciate her insofar as she is clearly an antagonist to my perspectives as a conservative. And I actually respect that because she owns it and is like, no, I actually am perfectly fine doing the thing you find it to be a violation of the Constitution. And she owns it. And I respect that. The ones that I don't like, that I really struggle with, are the squishy ones that are sort of like, no, I believe what you do. And then they do the opposite. She's just like, no, I don't believe, you and I don't agree on anything.
Or the ones that just out and out lie about it. Like just recently, let me give you an example. One of my best buddies in local politics is good old Justin Jones. He had this to say the other night at some sort of drag event in Murfreesboro.
It is an honor to be here. Hello, Murfreesboro. We're here to send a clear message to my colleagues in the General.
Oh, by the way, I just realized he could curse in this. I don't know if he does or not, but he could.
Assembly, that love is here.
Love is here.
That glamour is here.
Glamour is here.
That power is here.
Okay.
And I look around, I see a multiracial, multi-generational coalition to say with a clear message to those bigots in the legislature that we're building a new South. We're trying to bandwagon. Look at the crowd now. Murfreesboro showed up. Rutherford County showed up.
So this is like a drag event in Murfreesboro, and Justin Jones posted this, and he did so by saying, so honored to join We're Here this season after Tennessee became the first state to ban drag shows, and Murfreesboro tried to ban Pride. And look, Justin Jones it's America. You can have your own misguided beliefs, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Well,
and the state of Tennessee did not ban drag shows.
No, but this isn't about facts. You want to understand how little he says. Now, we're going to do it. Humor me for a second on a little experiment.
Okay.
This is how meaningless his words are. Play the same clip and just imagine that it is a youth church rally, not a drag show in Murfreesboro.
Okay.
See if it fits.
Here we go. Youth church rally, Murfreesboro, with the Right Reverend Justin Jones.
It is an honor to be here. Hello, Murfreesboro. We're here to send a clear message to my colleagues in the General Assembly that love is here.
Love is here. You got the emotion, the piano.
That glamour is here.
Glamour.
That power is here.
Power is here.
And I look around, I see a multiracial, multi-generational coalition to say with a clear message to those bigots in the legislature that we're building a new South.
New South.
They're trying to bandwagon. Look at the crowd now. Murfreesboro showed up. Rutherford County showed up.
And then there's an altar call and they come down and get baptized. I mean, the fact is he just says platitudes all the time without any, if you look at his legislative track record, it's nothing. And so that's his thing. And then the response to him is, why are you the way you are? And he loves that. He doesn't care. He just wants a stage. He wants to say the thing. We're the new South. We're changing everything. Well, but not in any way that like matters, right?
He would have a better legislative track record if the man wouldn't keep him down and would actually let him speak on the floor of the House.
I don't know. I don't know if there's a comparable figure in Tennessee politics, and obviously I'm new enough that I don't have a depth of knowledge, but I know he reminds me more than anything of Alvin Holmes from back in Alabama.
Yeah.
And if you know, Representative Alvin Holmes, I think Alvin might be deceased.
Maybe.
I don't know. But Alvin Holmes was a figure when I first got to Alabama in 1999, 2000, that did not know the worst, no, how do I put this? The most dangerous place in America was between Alvin and a television camera. Because Alvin knew how to promote himself. He knew how to get attention. He was not effective at representing his district in any positive way, but he got a lot of attention for himself, and he was performative in nature, and this is what this reminds me of.
Yeah, well, this is, if there was an AI that said, have a young liberal AI who finds racism in everything, and then spit out what it would be,
it's
Justin Jones. Everything is racist. They're all bigots. Everything is animated by this. And my message to the Republican members of the legislature is let this guy talk, and you will never have to deal with a Democratic majority in anything. Like, give him the ability to just speak, and don't play his game, because when he asks things like, you're a racist, and then you start answering why you're not,
that's what they won't do, though. They won't let him speak. He never gets any time to speak.
It's my favorite aspect of this. Democrats like Justin Jones and Justin Pearson and Gloria Johnson run around and tell I'm sorry, folks, their dumb constituents, their at best ignorant constituents, that they're not allowed to speak on the floor of the House of Representatives. And if you look at the speaking times, it's all Democrats. Of the top 12 individuals that spoke in the 2023 legislative session, I don't have the numbers for this year, of the top 12 people that spoke, 11 of them were Democrats.
Because the Republicans are passing legislation.
And Justin was one of those 11.
They don't want to talk about it because they're doing it.
And the one that wasn't a Democrat at the top 12 was William Lamberth, who's the House Majority Leader, who's required to handle all of these people.
Right.
It's just...
Well, and it becomes silly. And the big thing with particularly Justin Jones is let the man talk, because the majority of Tennesseans just simply don't agree with his viewpoints. Don't try to explain why you're not the names he's calling you. Just say, tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I guess that was the Phil Williams News Channel 5 approach when he accused Phil Williams of being a racist.
Right.
Well, I'm just going to let him talk. I'm not going to push back at all. The less I push back, the more possibility there's of me getting a Peabody Award.
But whatever you do, you're a racist. Like, if you push back, you're racist for pushing back.
If you don't,
you're racist because
you're standing there accepting what I'm telling you about yourself.
And so it's just everything fits his preordained narrative, and it's just, aggravating.
It says, Justin Jones presents this thing as if he's calling us crazy. Like, if someone is, if they legit think you're mentally insane and they tell you you're mentally insane, tell them that you're not. It becomes impossible.
Right.
And the more that you try to convince them that you're not, if you're quiet about it, then they really know you're mentally insane. But if you get really emphatic that you're not, whoa, you need to calm down, crazy boy.
But Republicans have to get wise to this game plan, right? Because there's media outlets do the same thing. They're like, you're a racist, right? And anything you say after that will be like, and that's what a racist would say. And so at some point you have to stop playing the game and saying, okay, you have 10 minutes to talk. Go. Time's up, moving on. Mm-hmm. And just do it as very methodically, matter of fact. Don't give them that back and forth.
Give them the exact amount of oxygen that they deserve to have and no more.
Yes.
Nor no less. Now, speaking of allowing them to talk, apparently we're going to have some conversation in Atlanta on June 27th between the presumptive nominees for president of the United States. How excited are you about this?
I am here for it. I am so...
who is not here for this?
You've got to be excited. This is grandpa battle. It is. Trump's like, he's been gagged with this trial, and he's been sitting there, and that's all like pin up. And then Joe Biden's like Spicy Joe. He's like, okay, am I doing it? Am I feisty? And It's going to be great.
They the clip where Joe announced that he was going to accept the challenge for an invitation, because Donald Trump said, I'll debate you anytime, anywhere, just let me know and I'll do it. And so the Team Joe, and I want to delve into this after the break, because they're going to use this to their advantage, because they're slowly but surely narrowing the focus and making sure that they tilt this scale to maximum Joe Biden advantage. But Donald Trump is going to do it. I mean, I don't think there's any way not to. But Joe Biden, in his announcement, it's
glorious.
I said it's a 14-second clip. As you listen to this, guys, it's a one-shot camera shot, right? There's only one camera, and they edit it 5 times in 14 seconds. Now, I heard Hand say this earlier, and he's exactly right. If you were going to do this and you knew that the boss was not going to be able to get the 14-second clip in one take, why you would not put 2 different cameras on him so it looks like you're bouncing the shot?
Sure.
So it actually looks artistic in purpose.
But we saw this with the State of the Union. We know what he's going to do, and it's going to be great. And he's going to talk about snacks and ramble and weird stuff.
Here's 14 seconds. There are 5 edit clips in the 14 seconds.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. And make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays. Donald Trump lost 2 debates.
I hear you're free on Wednesdays, bragging about the fact that, but Joe Biden doesn't have anything to do with that, of course.
He gets big and small in the ad.
I know he does. They do.
He moves back and forward.
Because they didn't want to take the time to move the camera. He gets big and small and big and small and big and small. This is intentional. These edits are intentional, guys. So embarrassing. All right, more coming up on the debates, what you think about them. We'll talk taxes. I'll ask Cameron Smith if he's thought about the transit system proposed by Mayor Freddie O'Connell, and if so, what does he think about it? That's all coming up next. I am so proud to be affiliated with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, and I'm proud to announce that they are celebrating 10 years. Well, I'm proud to say that. I would love it if one of these days David Corlew said to me, Murphy, we're shutting down because everybody's been taken care of. Every veteran has everything that they need. We've assisted our veterans in every single way as they come home. These guys, after multiple years of service, after multiple deployments, the journey home is often a complex problem and a complex process. Issues, being away from family, health, both physical and mental, education, employment are just a few of the many, many issues that involve coming home from service. And so I would love it if we lived in a world where there was no need for the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. And I think David and even Charlie himself looking down at us from heaven would say the same thing. But here's the deal. We have a lot of need right here in our community. And I beg of you, as you give charitably, to consider giving to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. They do such great work. I trust these men and women that work with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project implicitly, and I give out of my own wallet, and I want you to give out of yours. Go to the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org and give today. That's the CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org.
a small plane crash in Williamson County today, and we are updating you on the Slovakian prime minister who suffered an assassination attempt today. 2:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, I just missed some of that, Mr. Morey, so you may have mentioned this. If you did, I apologize. The small plane crash, are you looking at that back in the newsroom?
Yeah. That's what we'll start with here.
Yeah,
at 2:30.
okay, very good. Yeah, there's a situation right south of Leapers Fork, south of 840, that obviously Mac Morey's going to catch you up on this afternoon at about 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Before I forget, loyal listener Lindsay Cameron, who is a frequent contributor on the Members Nutrition.
Big Lindsay fan.
To a Super Text line, has made us some coasters.
Oh.
And I am instructed to provide you. This was mine. I've been instructed
like that
to
one.
provide. Yeah, no, that's why I went ahead and got it out of there. So I got some of the pink there, Lindsay. A little pinky. Yeah. Just thanks a lot. So you just you take the
mountains.
Oh, that's nice. There's some crosses in there too. Don't sell yourself short. So anyway, Lindsay provided us with some crocheted coasters, which was very nice. So you're down for the debates. You
Absolutely.
You believe that the chances are better than not of these happening? Do you think that it has to happen at this point?
I think Trump will debate anytime for any reason in any format. I don't necessarily think he should, but I think he will. Mm-hmm. And so that means the Biden camp's going to say, okay, we're going to do it. It's going to be in studio, no live audience,
What's the benefit of no live audience? I mean, I know what they say. They say we don't want distractions.
Yeah, you avoid the disruption of people screaming and hollering. And I actually think it's more useful if you want to get information. If you're a candidate who, like Trump, riffs off the crowd, you want the crowd because you like the crowd. Biden, that's just another variable for him to process, and I don't think it would go as well for him.
I don't think that Biden's people want an audience of non-Biden supporters who are willing to forgive it to see what they have to do to get him from here to there. I think they want to minimize all of that.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And I mean, the only fair way you could do it would be, here's your 50 tickets, here's your 50 tickets.
Right.
And everybody stacks it with their craziest supporters, and then that's where you get the disruptions and stuff. So, I mean, I think that Trump's going to say yes to whatever, because what I think the Biden crew will do is try to create conditions he wouldn't accept so they can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think they will continue to move the goalposts for the next week or so in an attempt to convince Trump not to do it.
If I'm Trump, I'm just like, yes. What do you want? We're going to do it on top of elephants parading through the streets. Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. And call them, just, you decide that's like a baller move.
I mean, he's already agreed to do it in what is, in my estimation, even, what MSNBC is? I guess one could say that MSNBC would be a more hostile environment, but of the ones that Joe said that he would do, CBS, ABC, CNN, or Telemundo, I think CNN is clearly the most hostile of environments for Trump. And he's already said, sure, I'll do it.
And if I would say, how about you let Joe Scarborough be the moderator? Because if I'm Trump, I feel real good on my feet versus that guy. And so I'm not intimidated. I don't care about the Lion's Den. Go put me in there, because then I've got the pivot to say, I agreed to his terms.
Right. This is your show, buddy.
I was a part of his show. And so if you felt like you didn't like the way it went, it's not my fault.
Plus, and I'll tell you my other theory about why you would readily accept the invitation from CNN, because they still want to appear neutral. And so they are going to be compelled to try to ask tough questions of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he's prepared for that. It's 2:31 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here comes the news on Super Talk.
.232, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 73 degrees, mostly cloudy. Chances of thunderstorms later on this afternoon in Music City. Got a forecast on the way. Staying here in Tennessee today, a small plane purportedly crashed in Williamson County this afternoon. It was in the area of Bending Chestnut Road and Davis Hollow Road. The NTSB is investigating the crash. They do confirm that the plane is a Beech V-35 aircraft. Williamson County Fire and Rescue reports the crash occurred just after noon. Officials have asked that if you find debris on your property or near you, to call police. And the Slovak Prime Minister medevaced to a regional hospital after an assassination attempt in his country. Tom Rivers.
Robert Fico was brought into Banska Bystrica for intense treatment. Attended by a team of paramedics, he was wheeled into the hospital on a stretcher. The 59-year-old populist is said to be in a life-threatening state after being hit multiple times by a gunman. The suspect quickly arrested.
And the preliminary hearing of a sort of mini trial to prove there's enough evidence to try a Utah mother and a grief author accused of murdering her husband by poisoning him has been delayed at the last minute. Alex Stone.
With Corey Richens' preliminary hearing set to begin, prosecutors told the court they need more time. The judge agreed on Wednesday, abruptly calling off the hearing and setting it for June 18th. Prosecutors said they need 3 days to prove there's enough evidence to head to trial. Richens is accused of poisoning her husband to death by putting fentanyl in a drink and then writing a children's book about grief.
And that is the latest news. Got a weather forecast next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Can I just give a little shout out to J.K. Brister, Erica Brister, and the rest of the team at U.S. Pest? I mean, during these trying times of cicada season, they don't come along very often, but their cicada game has been so strong on social media. If you're not following U.S. Pest on Facebook, I mean, some funny, some serious, very important tips of the road. I mean, even to the point of reminding you how much snakes like cicadas along with other creepy crawlies and animals and what to do about them at your home. I mean, so it's pretty funny, some of the stuff that they're doing, but also it is very, very good advice. So kudos to JK and Erica and the rest of the team at U.S. Pest. And frankly, kudos for everything you do to protect us from the bugs and the creepy crawlies, as I like to call them, that come into your home or come onto your property. Schedule a free pest inspection today at uspest.com, uspest.com. Get one of their qualified agents to come out to see you. I had Jesse out at my home the other day. What a great guy he was, and you'll find quality representatives of U.S. Pest when they come to your home when you give them a call at 590-1260. That's 590-1260 for U.S. Pest. Of course, that's in the 615, or go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com. Friends, you gotta do the work making sure that you don't have issues within the body, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time, and I'm here to tell you about it. It's Matt Murphy for Kraft Body Scan. I'm going to give you a telephone number, and I want you to call this number at the end of this advertisement or at the end of the show, and I want you to schedule an appointment for Kraft Body Scan. May is Cancer Screening Awareness Month, and Kraft Body Scan, in celebration of making sure that you have information that is so vital to you before you get symptoms, they are offering a very special $119 value for their heart and lung scan. It is a way to say hello, to introduce themselves to you, to help you understand where CT scan technology has come and how in-depth they can get without being invasive. You don't have to take off your clothes. The CT scan takes about 5 to 8 minutes, and for $119, not only will they scan your heart and lungs, they'll scan the heart and lungs of a loved one as well. That's what it's all about, folks, is getting information early to make sure that nothing's going on and giving you peace of mind. That's what they do at Kraft Body Scan. Spell Kraft with a C, craftbodyscan.com. That's craftbodyscan.com or 615-436-1000. Call today. Schedule an appointment today. 436-1000. Several of you have been holding. We'll get to your calls momentarily, as promised. Cameron Smith is with us. We'll continue talking about the possibility of a debate. I promised to ask the question regarding transit in the city of Nashville to Cameron Smith, and we'll do that as well on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. But first and foremost, Mr. Jimmy's been holding for some time, wants to talk about taxes out in Shelbyville. Mr. Jimmy, thank you for your call, sir. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm making cicada coffee.
That sounds rough.
Yeah. Well, most of the cheap coffees is half chicory. So I was thinking about starting another business, and then you put half dried cicadas in the coffee.
Well, I want to get you on. I want to get you on the Dan Mandis Morning Show, Nashville's Morning News, and we can talk about that Arabica coffee.
Oh yeah, well,
that's what he's been talking about.
It makes good cicada coffee. You use half of it.
Mr. Jimmy,
I would like to ask you. This is Matt. I would like to ask you a question.
All right.
Why do most of you radio types drink and cuss on the air?
Well, I mean, I just have a bad habit of using bad language, Mr. Jimmy. And
I'm not a cusser,
but Cameron doesn't.
I love Jesus.
Well,
I love Jesus too.
I'm
just making sure.
I'm during the Second World War. My daddy was in the Navy, and we moved back from Long Beach, California, to Memphis in 1947. I was born and raised in Memphis. We had, in high school, we had a radio announcer that was doing all the high school games. What was his name? He was on the Days of Our Lives. Wink Martindale. He started off as a high school radio announcer.
Wait,
for football game.
The game show host, Wink Martindale?
Yeah, the same one.
Mr. Jimmy, I interviewed Wink Martindale in Birmingham, Alabama, in studio. I love that guy.
We used to give him fits in high school when he was calling the football games. He was up there in the stadium box. I think he worked for WMC or
WR. Is it WREC, Mr. Jimmy?
WREC, yeah.
That sounds familiar to me too. Well, all I can tell you, Mr. Jimmy, and I'm sorry that I'm short on time, but I'll say this: I will try to do my best to curse less on the radio. And as far as what I drink, what's in my coffee cup is my business. That's what I'll say about that. Mr. Jimmy, God bless you. Thank you for the call. Transit in Nashville. A lot of people want to ignore Nashville.
Yeah.
Because they live in Murfreesboro or Nolensville or Mount Juliet or, all of these communities outside of the city, outside of Davidson County. And, we consider Nashville to be that blue dot in the red state, and they're going to do what they're going to do. But I think we need Nashville to be successful.
Yes. I'm very pro Nashville, even in Nolensville, because it's the hub. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with the politics of there, it doesn't matter. It's so critical.
We've got to draw those flies to the honey in order to prevent, because I promise you this, if that honey well dries up, the government's going to want to get their bites from somewhere.
Yeah. And, I think it's so critical, and I enjoy it. I really love Nashville and spending time down here. I'm glad I get to go to a place that's quiet in the nighttime. But
sure,
the rest of it I think is great.
I was talking with Jason Whitlock was on the show yesterday, and he lives over on Demunbrian at the Camden. And he said, I'm 15 floors up, and, man, you can hear it all night, every night. And I'm like, I bet you can.
Yeah, I'm too old for that, but it makes me fun when I do go out because I'm like, oh, look at that shiny thing over there. And it's everywhere.
We're like the old dudes.
Yeah, right? Definitely the old dudes.
As far as Freddie O'Connell goes with the transit proposal, I don't know. Davidson County can figure out if they want to pay for it, but I think you're half pregnant. I think you need to go all the way. I think you need to present the busing system as the party bus of Nashville system. I think you need to make Wi-Fi available. I think you need to cool it up. And I think you need to make it free.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. And I was actually pulling up this information across, it's called the fare recovery ratio. And I'm a nerd, but it's basically the percentage of the operational costs that are covered by fares. And when you're in the U.S., you're looking at 50%. That means you got to subsidize the other 50. You got to stroke a check to have it. And my take is I like the idea of these transportation systems. The sexy one that everybody wants to talk about, like over in California, is light rail. But like, if you can't, you're having to subsidize the thing you build directly, and you can't just cover it with fares. That tells me you don't have the demand, that people don't actually want to use it. And I would love to have a fast way to get into Nashville that gets me here in 20 minutes as opposed to 35. But even that, I'm probably not. I mean, you got to get me here in 10 minutes.
I mean, I think that if they did something like that, you and I, me and Mount Juliet, you and Nolensville, we might do it on a lark.
Yeah.
You do it as a one-off once every 6 months or whatever. Get the family. Hey, we're going to dinner. Let's do light rail. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Something different. But I don't know that you're going to convince people to do it on the regular.
But if you can build it all the way out so that there's like a hub in Nolensville or a hub in Mount Juliet, and they can kind of like what they have in D.C. Maybe I like that system. It works. It doesn't make any money. It's extremely expensive. And that's
never going to make money.
And right. And that's the question is, how much do you want to pay for a convenience that is a cost driver?
But here's the great part about that. I would not be paying for that.
Right.
Because I live in Wilson County and Mount Juliet. If Davidson County wants to pay for it, and if Davidson County residents think it's that important, then go for it.
Oh, don't think for a minute that Wilson County and Williamson County and other folks wouldn't be asked to pony up. It would be, all right, we'll make the connect out there, but we'll pay half, you pay half.
Right. Which is why I think Freddie O'Connell has downshifted away from light rail to more of improving bus systems, improving stops, improving sidewalks. Look, I'm all about some sidewalks. Go for it.
Sure.
Have at it. But don't do anything that's going to impede our ability to drive in the city, because people aren't going to go on the buses just because you tell them to.
Yeah, well,
they're just not.
This is where Franklin, for example, does it extremely well. It has these huge parking garages that are free, that you go and there's parking and you can be there. But when you can come in and pay $50, the real mass transportation system is Uber and Lyft. Yep. It is, all right, well, I'm going to take an Uber in. That's it.
So you put the likelihood, shifting back to the presidential debate before we have to go, you put the likelihood as very, very high that this is happening. It's happening on CNN.
Yeah.
Is this something that Joe Biden can do? In other words,
it's going to be like the State of the Union.
I mean, that's what I was about to say, is that's their calculus, right? If you're a handler of Joe Biden's, recognizing his cognitive diminishment, then you hope that you can pump him full of whatever they pumped him full of.
Yeah, he's going to do the State of the Union.
And he'll do fine.
Yeah, fine. I mean, there are words that will be there. He
fine
will be
for him.
I think that actually hurts him. I really do. That I think his handlers and the Democrats are saying, Spicy Joe is our man. That was never really his persona. So you're telling me that you're going to, yeah, but he doesn't have a temper. He's kind of a chill, like, and that's the kind of guy he is, right?
Wait a minute. Don't you remember?
Hold on. I want him to do that again. Do that again. That's a pretty good Joe Biden.
What about the time that he got in the union worker's face? I don't work for you.
Well, but it's like he's got to get real spun up to even do that, and it's just
okay.
There's not a lot.
What about the time he said, "Get ready, Bell. You're in for a problem"? Remember that one? He said that. You're gonna in for a problem, is what he said.
But you can see how it kind of Spicy Joe might make some Democratic donors happy, but it's just not. It's not his jam.
I think everything, all of this goes back to Brian Wilson beat me to this, and I know Brian's probably listening right now, and I have to give him credit for it. I thought it though. I thought it before Brian Wilson played it. It is the scene from Star Wars. Everything the Democrats do to Donald Trump makes him stronger. And I think they're going to set this up and create it in a way that they think can benefit them. They can't shy away from it, and I think it makes them stronger. For example, they're saying that they're going to cut mics so that Trump, I think that's better for Trump. It keeps Trump from getting in the way of himself, and letting Joe Biden be Joe Biden more is a good thing for Donald Trump.
I think that Trump should issue physical challenges too and be like, we're going to carry pizza boxes. I'm going to carry 8. How many are you going to carry? And just because this is how inane and silly this stuff is at this point. And that's where Trump is Trump. He's a constant. He's authentic. He's what he is. Biden's trying to be the anti-Trump, which is not what he is. And that, I know that sounds weird, but he's not. He's not like Trump. He never has been. And now he's trying to be that way, like, what do they call it? Dark Brandon. They think that's funny or something.
Give me a break.
All right, without thinking, everyone, point to which way the stage exit is. Go. No, the other way. No, it's not up, Mr. President. It's
well, but it's like a fisticuffs in the 1950s. Like, look, fella, I'm very upset at a thing.
I'm a pugilist.
Your snacks have gotten smaller. I'm going to fix that.
It's going to be so good.
I'm excited.
Get the popcorn ready. We'll find out what Brian Wilson thinks about it next. It's 2:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Winding down with our in-studio guest, Cameron Smith, who makes his weekly appearance with us in the 2 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We were just having a conversation, and I want to draw in Brian Wilson in advance of the drive into this conversation because, Wilson, you're going to know far better than us about obviously, you've been in Washington, D.C., you've been there, done that. So if this debate does, in fact, happen, June 27th, CNN has been chosen, and both parties have agreed that they will allow CNN to conduct the debate.
Right.
Who's the journalist at CNN, the first one that you think of that needs to be on the panel?
That's
what I did.
Well, I will say this. The other day, Erin Burnett did an interview with Biden, and she asked hard questions.
That's good. That's fair.
She did. She really did. So, I think probably, knowing how these things work behind the scenes, they were in the midst of those negotiations when that interview took place, and they wanted to make sure that Donald Trump saw that they were going to ask tough questions of Joe Biden in that interview. So I think that may have paid off for them. So, if she would do what she did in that interview with Joe Biden during the debate and really played it up the middle. See, for them, they're trying to reset over there because they are widely perceived, and correctly so, as being extremely liberal.
Yes.
And so they would like to sort of move back to the middle, and this would be a great way for them to show that they can be unbiased, is to go into that debate and play it up the middle. Now, again, their worst instincts sometimes get the best of them, but who knows how it's going to play out. But I think that probably what was going on behind the scenes.
How's the drive going to play out today, Brian? What do you have on tap?
Well, I want to talk about something you probably haven't heard about, something called Schedule F, and how it is Joe Biden's attempt to protect the deep state. I think they're making a lot of moves over there in the Biden administration with the realization that, we may not get a second term. We better get some stuff done now. You're not going to like this because it protects the deep state and undoes some things that Donald Trump did. We'll get into it right after the news at 3 o'clock.
There is Brian Wilson, and he is upcoming for 4 full hours right after McMurray's newscast, and I will be listening to every single bit of it. I hope you do as well. Have a great afternoon, folks. Hug your loved ones. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, so long, everybody.